This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1026. What Will You Do When You're Retired? By Darrow Kirkpatrick of caniretireyet.com. And I'm Dan, I'm your host, and a very happy New Year's Eve to you. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have something fun planned, or maybe just a nice quiet night at home to ring in the new year. This show, if you're new here, is where I read to you from some of the very best personal finance blogs on the planet. And before we get to it, if you've been listening to us for a while, you should already know that we give away books to random people on our mailing list, and that happens every single month on the first of the month, so that would be tonight. So if you want a chance to win this month's raffle, make sure you join by tonight so you're in the raffle that's happening at midnight. It is totally free. Just enter your email address at oldpodcast.com. So for now, let's get right to our post as we start optimizing your life. What Will You Do When You're Retired? By Darrow Kirkpatrick of caniretireyet.com. Mention retirement at the office, and most people will be conjuring visions of sun-drenched beaches, lush golf courses, soaring mountains, or shimmering poolsides. Everybody knows that retirement has to be awesome because vacations are awesome, and retirement will be just like a vacation, only longer, right? Well, not exactly in my experience. A satisfying retirement, I've found, is ultimately a new mixture or a repurposing of the same ingredients that were in your working life. What will be the right mixture for you? It's worth thinking this through a bit before you actually pull the plug on your job. Leaving a career behind is a serious decision, so it's only sensible to plan ahead. But be realistic. Expect the unexpected. This is a big life change. Did graduation, marriage, kids, or work ever go exactly as you planned? For some people, retirement might just mean bigger helpings of the usual leisure activities. And perhaps for some, as an antidote to years of stressful work life, that'll be good enough. After decades of getting up to an alarm clock, commuting, dealing with schedules, agendas, priorities, goals, and objectives, all set by somebody else, you might need a good long break with nothing much to think about. But in my experience, that period of unadulterated leisure eventually ends. In truth, most people will need more out of a retirement than pure leisure. Here then are the elements I believe make for a truly happy and satisfying retirement. Number 1. Fun. Without question, retirement is a reward of sorts for having worked long and hard and been a wise steward of your money. You ought to get to do something now that is genuinely luxurious and fun by your own standards. Otherwise, you're likely to feel cheated. The older generation in my own family did things like move to the beach or build a homestead in a rural setting. For myself, I bought a small RV, relocated to our dream retirement town, upgraded all my outdoor gear, and spent even more time hiking, biking, and climbing. 2. Staying busy. In a satisfying job, most of us require a minimum of useful assignments to perform, reasonable tasks that interest us and match our skills. Retirement should be no different. The difference is that you are now 100% in charge of your assignments. And it makes no sense to be bored when you finally have the time and freedom to do whatever you want. Most people, given the opportunity, find meaningful activities. They travel, they join, connect, learn, or study to get a fresh perspective on life. If that doesn't work for you, you can always go back to work on your own terms. Above all, don't let yourself lose interest in life. What a waste. 3. Creativity. Whether it be taking photographs, painting watercolors, blogging, writing that novel, or starting a small business, it's hard to envision a satisfying retirement that doesn't involve an element of creativity. At last, you are free to invest your time as you see best, beyond the strict rules of the workplace. Retirement is the perfect occasion to try your hand at expressing your individuality in something new in the world. Maybe you do it for the sheer joy of self-expression, or perhaps you have an eye on leaving a legacy that informs others. Either way, you are older and wiser and can care less about measuring up to any standards other than your own now. 4. Productivity. Just because you are no longer tied to a job doesn't mean that you can no longer be or won't want to be productive. What do we mean by that word? One dictionary definition reads, quote, yielding results, benefits, or profits, end quote. In the traditional work world, that usually means getting paid, but that may or may not be true in retirement. Making money is surely one useful measure of productivity. You create something of value for others, and they trade you money for it. But that's not the only measure of productivity. Volunteer work or community activity can yield genuine results and benefits for others that does not involve a profit. The main point may be to have goals and make progress towards them. The psychology classic Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience, reports on research showing that people are actually happier at work, stronger and more satisfied, less dull and apathetic, than in leisure. At work, we are usually challenged to use our skills in achieving certain specific goals. And in retirement, we don't have to give up that satisfaction, but we do get to choose our own goals. 5. Service. The satisfying retirement lifestyles that I've observed include some element of service. It just makes sense. We all know deep down that helping others is one of the most satisfying ways to spend our time. But in the hectic career and family years, we may not have as many opportunities for service outside the home. In retirement, at last you have the time and freedom to find your own best route to improving the world. Ideally, that will be a path that truly leverages your own talents and passions. For some, that might mean volunteering in the community. For others, it might be signing on to political causes. For others, it might be creating something of value and beauty. In my own case, I've been able to combine my long-term interests in personal finance and writing into a retirement avocation through my blog. Yes, this is a business and it makes a small profit on the side, but once you figure in the time I spend maintaining software, researching and writing posts, replying to comments and emails, I'm making a little above minimum wage. So it's a labor of love that helps people and the world, and that's what really matters to me. And 6, freedom. Lastly, retirement should have an element of freedom, right? You are retiring from a workplace that somebody else created and structured so that you can spend the rest of your life following your own passions on your own timetable. Sounds good. But if you wind up locked into a web of social, service, or family obligations, you may not feel that retirement has accomplished much. You could just wind up trading one overscheduled, overcommitted life for another. Alas, I think this might be the greatest danger in most retirements, missing the sense of space that this stage of life deserves and requires. Some people like being overscheduled, but for me, it squeezes out the taste of true personal freedom that ought to accompany financial freedom. So what's my biggest challenge in retirement to date? Boredom is nowhere in sight for me. I'm constantly busy with creative, productive activities that are often of some service to others, and I'm generally having great fun doing it. I'm embarrassed to admit, but I'll be honest, my biggest challenge now is stress. Not that dismal, grinding stress of an unwanted job or work environment that drones on day after day. No, I'm talking about the stress of being pulled in a dozen different directions by people, activities, and places that you all love. Once there are no longer obstacles to pursuing your dreams, you take on new interests and deepen old ones. The activities, projects, and goals that were impossible when you were working now become possible, even necessary. So I often feel like there isn't enough time in the day to capitalize on every opportunity for fun, creativity, learning, service, experience, or connection. Thus, I've had to cultivate a finely tuned ability to say no, even when it's uncomfortable or unprofitable, just to keep my sanity. Apologies if you've been the recipient of one of those no's, but now you understand why. And I'm still too busy in retirement. This is one of those problems that most people would love to have, so I'm not going to complain about it further. But if you're nearing retirement, you've been warned. You just listened to the post titled, "What Will You Do When You're Retired?" by Darrow Kirkpatrick of CanIRetireYet.com. And that is it for today and for another year of Optimal Finance Daily. I thank you sincerely for listening every day with me. It means a whole lot to us, and we couldn't have done it without you. So have a great rest of your day, a very happy New Year's Eve, and I'll see you back here for tomorrow's show and in 2020, where your optimal life awaits.